walking around Terry Manor, a subdivision of houses that consist of Terry Lane, Kennard Drive, and Wilson Street. George Inky Wilson, one of the most influential men in this neighborhood and the city of Newark, built Terry Manor in the 1950s. Before Terry Manor, much of the housing in the New London Road community was subpar, with some houses going without indoor plumbing even into the 1970s. George Wilson took on the mission to provide decent, middle-class housing at affordable prices for the community. The first house Inky built was his own. Pedro Swan remembers,
"If you turn right on Church Street, when you get all the way down the end of that, there's a house, a brick house on the left. That was Inky's house he used to live in. That was the first house he ever built."
Members of the community today remember that Inky had a pool in his backyard and sometimes made that pool available to the children of the community who could not go swimming in the white pools. Wilson borrowed housing plans from City Hall and salvaged building materials through his demolition business. Then he and a handful of local men began building houses, many of which still stand today. Wilson named the development and Terry Lane after his daughter, and Kennard Drive after his two sons, Kenneth and Richard. Some of the first residents of Terry Manor were actually servicemen and their families stationed at Newcastle County Air Base. The community embraced these new families. Other residents of Terry Manor included veterans, postal workers, teachers, and workers from the Chrysler plant. Terry Manor is remembered by community members for the many fun times had there. Pepper tells of Halloweens in Terry Manor.
Back then, trick-or-treat was, that's the thing you look forward to every year. You know, going around to up to Terry Manor and going to Miss Mamie James' house, because she always gave you sticky apples. So you knew you always had to hit Miss Mamie James, because she always had the caramel sticky apples. So you knew you always had to go there for that, you know, and just go around. You could just stay in this one area community and get all the trick-or-treat you wanted.
But Terry Manor wasn't George Wilson's only contribution to the community. Wilson dedicated his life to improving living conditions for the African Americans of Newark. Wilson was the first and only African American elected to the Newark City Council. Alvin Hall was directly impacted by Wilson's election to the City Council.
George was an outspoken and a major person in the community. He did a lot of things to help the black area develop. I know that through some of his legislations, all the houses in Newark used to have the little outhouses. And after I was about maybe 10 years old, when George got into council, all the outdoor houses were done away with because the city came through with storage. And then we were able to be hooked up to storage.
Wilson had a way with words. Once, when addressing the city council, he poignantly remarked, "Make up your minds whether the Negro is a human being, a man, or something less, a beast." George Wilson clearly cared about the community and did his best to make it an even better place to grow up and live in. But Mr. Wilson also had a bit of a sense of humor, too, saying of himself,
"I've always been something of a rebel."
Now, go back out the way you came, cross over New London Road, go up Ray Street, and turn right onto Rose Street until you can see Mount Zion Church.